Okay, in this video, I will show you how to put some XY data into your calculator and get an equation for it. This one is going to be if you have an older calculator, not one of the newer ones. All right, so first of all, you have to have some XY data. So in order to put this into your calculator, you are going to hit Stat and then number 1, Edit. If you already have some data in your calculator under L1 and L2 like I do, you want to clear that out. So use your arrow keys and go up to L1 or L2 and hit clear, enter, and it will clear that whole column. Now you're ready to put the information in. You're going to put all of your X data into your L1 and all of your Y data into L2. So let's see, I have 5, 8, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Now I'll go over to L2 and put in 2, 12, 22, 32, 45, 60, and 81. You always want to check your data quickly just to make sure you have as many X's as you do Y's. Otherwise, the calculator will give you a mismatch error. But it looks like I put my data in correctly. Now, you want to be able to take a look at what this data looks like. So you want to go into your Y editor, and you want to clear out any equations that might be in there. I have an equation in there, so I'm just going to have my cursor on that equation and hit clear. You see at the top you've got plot 1, plot 2, and plot 3. You want to turn plot 1 on. So using your arrow keys, just go up to plot 1, hit enter, and you can see when I scroll back down that is now highlighted, so my plots are turned on. If you go back to Stat Edit to look at your data, you see my data goes roughly from 0 to about 25. And my Y data goes from maybe 0 to about 100. It goes to 81, but I'll round it up to 100. So I want to set my window parameters to that. So I'm going to go here to my window button. And under X minimum, I'm going to put 0. Under X maximum, I'm going to put 25. You can see I actually already did this. Y minimum, I'll put 0. And Y maximum, I'll put 100. Now when I hit my graph button, I can see what my data looks like. Now, if I compare this data to the charts that I gave you in class, you could say, well, maybe it's linear or maybe it's exponential. I'm not really sure. So we will take a look at both those equations and see which looks like a better fit. So let's do the linear equation first. You'll have to go to Stat, and now you're going to scroll over to Calc. You can see you have a whole bunch of options here, but we're going to use, first of all, 4, which is linear regression. You're going to hit enter. You're going to hit enter again. And you can see it's going to give you a list here. It'll tell you that the form of your equation is y equals ax plus b, and then it gives you the values of a and the values of b. So if I were to write this equation would be y equals, if I round to 1 decimal place, 4.8 x minus 24.2. So that's what my equation would be. You can see it also gives you 2 values, an r squared value and an r value. If your calculator doesn't show you this, I'll show you in a moment how to get those. For a linear equation, you want to look at the r value. So your r value in this case is 0.99. The closer that number is to 1, the better fit this equation is to your data. If you're looking at anything besides a linear regression, you'll look at r squared. If you don't see those values on your calculator, what you would need to do is to go to second, and then over here, your 0 button. You can see it says catalog above it. So you go second 0, and then it gives you a whole list of things. You want to simply scroll down until you see the word diagnostic on. Right there, diagnostic on. You're going to hit enter, and you're going to hit enter again. And it'll just say done. It doesn't look like it did anything, but that is what will turn that r and r squared value on for you. All right, so we've looked at what the linear equation is. Let's look what the exponential equation is. In your calculator, that will be a power function. So again, we're going to go to Stat, we're going to go to Calc, and now we're going to scroll down until we see power regression. If I hit enter and enter again, it's going to show me my equation for my power regression. This one here is ax to the b. So here I'm going to say this would be y equals 0.07 x raised to the 2.4. Right, that'll be a power function. And here you can see your r squared value now is 0.93. Well, that's not as close to 1 as my r value is, but let's take a look at what both of those equations look like on our graph. So in order to put these two equations into our y-editor, we're going to have to go back to Stat, go over to Calc, and we're going to start putting the linear equation into my y-editor. So I'm going to hit 4. But now instead of hitting Enter at this point, I'm going to hit vars, this key right here, this vars key. I'm going to scroll over to y vars. I'm going to hit 1 for function. I'm going to hit 1 because I want to put it in the y1 in my y-editor. And I'm going to hit Enter. It's going to give me all my data just like it did before. But now if I go to my y-editor, you'll see that equation with all its decimals are in there. Let's go ahead and put our second equation in. We'll go again to Stat. We'll go over to Calc. We'll scroll down now to this power function. We're going to hit Enter. Once again, now instead of hitting Enter again, we're going to hit vars. We'll scroll over to y vars. It's a function. But now I don't want to put it in y1 because I already have my linear equation in y1. I want to put it in y2. So y2, Enter, Enter. Again, it's going to give me all the data for this equation. But now if I go to my graph, I can see, well, there's my linear function because I put that one in first. And here is my power function. And you can see by looking at this that the linear equation is a better fit. So this would be the equation that I think would model this data the best.